What is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? It's your boy Jeff, and it's another episode of Social Conversation, Season 5, Episode 4. And I have a special guest in the house. Before I get to my special guest, I got to pay the bills real quick. So, shout out to our sponsors, Click A Vodka. Shout out to our sponsors, Holistic Remedies. Make sure you go support them. The link is in the description below. And also tell them that Jeff sent you there, and you can go to Holistic Remedies. You get 10% off of all their products, all right? So make sure you use the code word HRMeSo so you get 10% off. Um, Give me that HBO special, help a brother out special. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, hit that notification button. Also share the podcast as well. If you're watching us on YouTube, Twitch, and whatever, we appreciate you for watching. If you're at home, at work, or you're just driving the car, listen to this podcast, we appreciate you for the ears. All right. So today I have a special guest. She's an entrepreneur. She got a lot of things going for her. She's about to come out with her own dating app. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Social Conversations. DJ Robinson, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
What is going on with you? What's going on with you?
Oh, life. Just life and through this crazy economy, working, and then also, like you just mentioned, really trying to push this dating app out. So that's pretty much it.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
So I had to return the favor because you actually had me on your podcast. It was actually the first time me being interviewed because I always interview everybody. So it's the first time I was being interviewed. So I appreciate you that, and I had to return the favor to you. So DJ, we got a lot to pack in. Let's just start from the beginning. Okay, let's just start from the beginning.
Okay.
Tell us tell us about your childhood. Tell us where you was born and raised. You got any siblings, your parents?
Oh, okay. So we're gonna go way back.
Way back.
Way back. All right. So I'm originally from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I am the second oldest to four. My parents had four, and then we have an older sister that my dad had with someone else. My childhood was very interesting. Like I said, we're from Fort Lauderdale. We ended up in West Palm Beach just due to my dad not being able to get his stuff together at first. My mom moving us to West Palm Beach. Going through all types of different things until she got settled. And then he came around and got himself together, and they ended up back together, working through, trying to survive. And my childhood was okay for the most part. I wasn't the best when it came to school and stuff. I don't know if you want me to dig into things I used to do and all of that stuff. But,
yeah, let's talk about it.
I guess I'll give you the build up to, I think, everything. So basically, because what my dating app is about. My childhood on the outside looking in, it looked okay. Like I said, my parents, basically, they worked. They were hard workers. They did what they needed to do. But inside the household, it was a lot of turmoil where we walked on eggshells due to just my dad's behavior with alcoholism and stuff like that. And as a teenager, I dealt a lot with just trying to escape. I think I dealt a lot with guys who also just did not have their stuff together. And I was a kid who skipped school a lot. I was a kid who was all into boys, I felt like at that time that was my only escape. I also worked a lot too. I started working at a very early age. That's a little bit about my childhood. If you wanted, I don't know if you want to dig a little bit more into that, or if you want to just
So what did your parents do for a living?
My parents. So my dad worked in the auto industry for probably almost 30 plus years until recently. He had just a severe heart attack, and now it's just him trying to focus on his health. My mom did she worked as like an admin assistant for a company called Cisco for many years. And then when we moved to Georgia, because that's where we're all at now, she's in retail now, actually.
All right. Nice.
Yeah.
And you said West Palm Beach. I got family in West Palm Beach.
Really?
I got
Yeah.
uncles on my father's side, cousins. They all
That
from West Palm Beach, and now you live in Georgia was also interesting because my father's side is also from Georgia. That's where they actually began.
mm,
So my father was from Savannah, Georgia.
got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So Savannah, Georgia, and then they actually some moved to West Palm Beach and some
Mm,
moved to New York. So that's
got
how I end up in in New York because my father moved to New York when he was like a teenager and stuff like that.
got you. Okay. Okay. Dope. Yeah,
So
I'm originally from West Palm Beach. That's my hometown, even though I feel like I've been in Georgia forever. But I got the country twang and everything. But no, I am from West Palm Beach.
yeah, I hear the accent. I hear it. I hear
Yeah.
it. So in school, I know you mentioned you like skipping school a lot, but
Yeah.
did you have like a favorite class or subject that you liked? You just like fuck it.
Oh, I liked, no, I took that back. I liked English, the English class. I liked writing. And I remember in middle school, my teacher found my composition book because that's all I used to do. Like that's another way I escaped. I used to write poetry.
Mm,
I used to write stories. Like that was another way I kind of just kind of escaped from just life and school and like just my home life and stuff like that. And she found my composition book, and read some of my poetry and stuff, and tried to get me to like submit my stuff to contests and stuff like that. So I did like English, and I did like, I can't even remember that English teacher name, but I did like, yeah, that subject overall, kind of, because it's not like I was really paying attention in class and doing the work, but I was writing like in my journal, and I did a lot of reading and stuff too. So um, when I was in class,
yeah, so you was writing poetry, reading, just to escape reality or what was going
kind of,
on
oh yeah, or
in the
like,
household and stuff like that. Right?
yeah, or like writing what I was going through. Like that's
Got
how I expressed it, because I
yeah.
also had issues with communicating like how my inner feelings and how I felt unless I was angry, because that's what I saw displayed in my household. So I would usually write stuff down, and that was kind of my outlet. So
So that was your therapy.
yeah, basically
Nice,
as a
nice,
kid,
nice.
yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. So no college. You did just going to college? No, you just, like
No,
no,
I dropped
doors
out.
out for me.
Really, I dropped out actually at I was 10th grade level, but I think I dropped out at like 11th grade. I was like 16, 17 when I officially was like, okay, I'm done. I've been working since 14. And by the time we moved to Georgia, I got another little restaurant job or whatever. Again, barely going to school. I done linked up with people who done had cars and all of that stuff. And I barely was going to school. And my mom just finally was just like, you know what, if you want to drop out, drop out. Because they have a law here now, even back when I was in school, if you miss over 10 days, the parents go to jail.
Oh,
So
damn.
yeah, she was just like, okay, if you want to, and I was at the age where I could drop out. So dropped out and I worked. So yeah. Ended up getting my GED 4 years later at 21. I was 20 or
Okay,
21. Yeah.
okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's GED and everything.
Yeah.
How was it? Working, dropping out of school and it's the grind or just working. Was you
You know,
helping your parents out with the bills, or it just
Yeah, so I started helping out with bills early on, but it wasn't a whole lot of money. So I didn't feel like I was. My parents took care of majority of the bills, but they gave me a little bit of responsibility. So I didn't feel the grind for real, until my early 20s after I had my son. But as far as like the beginning stages where I was just working at restaurants and I paid a little bit of money to them and I kind of just did my own thing before I had my kids. So I didn't feel the grind like I know a lot of people probably felt like when they, stopped going to school, was working and trying to survive like on their own. So yeah. So I didn't feel it like that. Me, it was just working and kind of just living life and trying to figure things out at that time.
gotcha, gotcha.
Hmm.
So you didn't mention that you was trying to find love in the right places.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you dealing with different men, different personalities.
Hmm.
Tell us about that time period of you just trying to find love and sometimes making the wrong wrong choices and stuff like
Gotcha.
that.
So how I describe it now, because when I look back at everything and with the knowledge that I have, I feel like so I tend to choose dismissive guys. I was also in a really abusive relationship as a teenager, but I think it's still all kind of ties. But majority of the time, before I came conscious of what I was doing, I chose a lot of dismissive men. And I want to go back to the relationship with between me and my father. Like, especially when I started getting into trouble and I wasn't listening, and he became very dismissive towards me. So there was years when I was a teenager, he barely spoke to me because I think in his mind, he just didn't know what to do with me. But going back to the guys I chose, they were dismissive. And I think subconsciously, what I was doing, I was trying to fix that relationship with my father. Because what I would do with these dismissive guys was try to prove that I was worthy. You get what I'm saying? Of them not being dismissive of. So I went out of my way to do things I had no business doing. Just to prove my worth and my love and all of that stuff. So that was kind of the trend of the guys that I chose and the actions that I kind of took, like without not going too deep into the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That's kind of what my dating life kind of looked like in my late teens, early 20s, and even into my mid 20s, like until I really started looking into what I was doing. So when, like I said, normally I'll get into these relationships and I'm the one giving. And then, once I would get tired or exhausted, I realized, okay, this person's not going to change. I would wake up, snap out of it, and then end up dating another guy, and it's the same shit. And I would just break up with them. But there was this guy in my mid 20s I dated, did the same cycle, same dating cycle, same routine, did the dance of how I normally would do it. And this guy broke up with me. It wasn't me breaking up with him. And it hurt so bad. It just shattered because, like I said, I'm usually the one to walk away. And I done poured all this energy, this time, all of this effort. And it clear in my mind back then, it wasn't good enough. And instead of me always pointing the finger at the guy and how crappy the guy is, that breakup, that heartbreak made me really look at myself and my dating patterns and who I was choosing and why I was choosing in it. Kind of just dug the rabbit hole into me, like really doing research and looking into different things. Hence why this app and my podcast was born.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned you had a son at the age of 20 or
I had
21?
21. I got pregnant at 20. I had him at 21.
Hmm. Take us during that time and you have your
Oh, my
first
son.
child. Yeah.
That was so. I knew his dad. He was a guy I also dealt with kind of in my teens, and it was always an on and off thing. And it's crazy because I said I was gonna cut him off. I wasn't gonna talk to him anymore, but we did end up doing something that last time. And I just cut him off. I stopped talking to him for a few weeks, and then I found out I was pregnant or whatever. And during the time of pregnancy, me being me, I'm always the type that I'm trying to get things together, trying to make sure I'm straight, the baby's gonna be straight. And um again, dealing with a very dismissive guy, just not doing what he needed to do to prepare for himself for the baby. It was a really tough situation. And then after having my son, there's another thing that kind of helped me grow. I had to really grow. My son is a double lung transplant patient. So after having him for several months, nobody knew what was wrong with him. He just couldn't come home. Like I had him, and when he came out, he was turning blue, all of that stuff. And later on, probably a couple months down the line, I had him, and then that's when they told me he had a deficiency issue called surfactant B deficiency. It's basically where like we all have this surfactant B in our lungs, or when we breathe, it helps our lungs expand, close in as we breathe. With him, he didn't have it, or he had very little, and then they caught it too late, to fix it, and it restricts your lungs to the point where you can't breathe.
Mm.
And he needed a new set of lungs. So they didn't do transplants for um, babies in the state of Georgia. So we had to go to Houston, Texas. So me and his father went to Houston, Texas for almost a year, just to make sure he got the transplant and he was able to come home, which he did. My son is 10 years old now and doing very well. But just through that course of time, that it didn't work. And I think we ended up staying together for an additional 2 years, where I just had enough, and I couldn't deal with it anymore, because as the relationship progressed, and I won't, with him, I think it was more so of what happened with our son and the condition and all that stuff. I think he just didn't know how to handle and deal. I think that was majority of it, but I also think it was more so of him just struggling to grow up. Yeah, there's a lot to that story. Like, I'd be talking for days, but we stayed together for a couple more years. But within that relationship, it was always me juggling everything, doing everything from dealing with my son to also having to try to find work, because he just was in this depressive alcoholic state all the time, where he would get a job for a couple weeks, couldn't keep the job, all of that stuff. So yeah, it was bad. And I finally just had enough of it, broke it off, and I ended up moving back home with my son. So that's kind of a little bit about my journey, like right after having my son, and the relationship with his father that I had.
Is the father still active?
So his dad is actually still going through similar stuff that he was going through in his early 20s.
Gotcha.
Not being able to keep a job, not being able to do certain things. And as I would try to co-parent, and I would take the initiative and drive where he's at so he can see his son, stuff like that, it's always an issue because I don't want to be with him. So that he causes conflict. So as of right, he's never really been active, but he's always expressed interest of wanting to see his son. But he's one of those toxic types where he always tries to tie it back to us getting back together. And it's something I'm not interested in, but I do want him in my son's life, but he makes it very difficult. So as far as active, like taking care of him, doing it, no. But he does express interest in wanting to see his kid, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't. I know a lot of men are like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they want to be in the son's life, but
they want the mother too. And I think, and and it's like, it's not that. And then, like I said, with his situation, he's not where he needs to be. So do you really want me, or do you need somebody to take care of you? It's a lot that ties into that story. But right now,
and also he don't want any other man around.
That's another thing too. So it's a lot of toxicity there that I'm still working through, because of course I want my son to have his father in his life and him to see him on a regular basis. But it's a very toxic situation where I've had to learn to put up boundaries and put them up quickly. So yeah.
Actually, I understand.
Yeah. I know some men be like, you keep it. I'm like, I promise you I'm not. Okay.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I'm not trying to, but at the same time, I feel like boundaries are very important for everybody's sanity. Like, so it's a complicated situation.
Yeah, it's like an ego. It's like a male ego thing.
It is. It is. It's really bad.
Selfish.
Selfish, and to the point where he's the type, he'll get real nasty, like to try to hurt me because I'm not cooperating in the way that he thinks I should. So that's why it's like, okay, I have to put boundaries up, because you're gonna tear me down just as low as you are, and I'm not for that.
Right. All. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
My next question for you is, since you asked me on your show, what was your worst dating experience? Can you share one story with us?
Okay. My worst dating experience. Like on the dating apps, right? Because that's kind of what. Okay,
Oh,
so
just in general. Just in general.
in general, I have a lot of bad dating stories. I'm gonna just give you a simple one off of the dating app because oh my god. Okay, so I talked to this guy, and I don't know if I brought it up on ours, but I talked to this guy for like maybe a week or so on the dating app. And we did FaceTime, right? And like put that out there. We FaceTime. You know, he seemed like a nice looking guy, blah, blah, blah. And we agreed to meet at a park. I'm the type where I like to go to parks. And then maybe, you know, if things work out, we can go out to eat or whatever we choose. But I like going out on simple stuff so we can actually talk and get to know each other. Because I feel like all the extra big things people try to do, like concerts or movies or whatever the case may be, you can't really engage with the person for real.
Right, right.
So we met at the park. First things first, I was how old was I? I was real young. Because he ended up needing to be picked up. And I think at first it wasn't supposed to be like that, but he ended up needing to be picked up. I go along with it, I pick him up. And I see how short he is. Mind you, I'm talking real short. Now, I even back then though, I was the type, well, oh, he needs to be 6 foot, but that's something I'm not gonna get into. That was due to an insecurity I had. I wanted the guy to be a certain height back then. And now I'll date guys that's 5'6", 5'7". I will now. You know what I'm saying? It's not a problem. But this guy he had to be about 5'2". I'm 5'5". I felt catfished in a way for that. So he gets in the car. I'm shocked by the height, but you know, I'm the type, I'm gonna be respectful. We here, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna talk, I'm gonna engage. We get to the park, and you know, I guess because I didn't totally reject him. I'm being nice as we walk. He's trying to hug on me, and it felt awkward. And I just felt like with him, I just felt like he was, I don't know. I felt like he was a little kid that I literally could put on my back. I feel bad for saying that, but that was, to me, it wasn't a terrible date, but I feel like you should disclose stuff like, especially if the girl puts on a profile, she's 5'5". You don't know, she'll be, some women are okay with that, you know, but I feel like that's something you should say. I even had another one where I went with this other guy, kind of another catfish story. Like he looked different from his photos. We met at a restaurant. It was, you know, the date was okay. It was cool. I can't remember word for word, but when we left the date, he was trying to convince me to go to a hotel with him afterward. Like really trying to pressure me to, first date, I never met him. He don't look like his pictures, and was really trying to pressure me to go to a hotel with him. So yeah, I've had certain dates like that where it's just like I have to come up with crazy excuses to get away from these people because they're super aggressive, and it's like you're not even upfront like about your physical, even like conversations that like things didn't match up. So I've had bad dates like that off of the dating apps. Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it. People be capping, man. I just can't. I just can't do it. They be capping, man. Like,
come on, let's be real with ourselves. Let's, you know, yeah, I've had a few like that. And then as far as people I've proceeded with, I have crazy stories. I have crazy stories with that too. So I have quite a few.
So tell us to what letter you starting your own dating app. Tell us the origin story about that.
The origin story of dating app. So okay, I told you about the relationship with the guy that had me really looking at myself. So I just started doing a lot of studying on like just why would I entertain somebody I had to put so much energy to? Because then I started really looking back at the relationship, like he breadcrumbed me through a lot of the relationship. It wasn't an even exchange of give and take at all. So I just started really digging and doing research. And as I dug and I did research, one thing I remembered about the relationship, I would try to get him to take several tests. Like I would try to get him to take a love language test. I would try to get him to take an emotional intelligence test. there was different things that popped up, and I'll try to get him to take, and he just like, no, I'm not doing it. So my original idea was like, wouldn't it be dope if I created a dating app that tricked these dudes to take a test? Because how my dating app is set up, you literally have to play a game with your match before you can message them. So that was the original idea. But then as I started doing more self work on myself and doing more self work on myself and also talking to different coaches and stuff like that. When I created the podcast, I learned even more like, okay, I need to do a lot of inner work, self work. So that's where the app kind of grew from the concept of, oh, let's trick guys to take tests to no, let everybody do their own work and come together. And my journey of building this app. So the first developer, I'm gonna quote quotation marks around here, I worked on it. I got scammed out of 15 grand. My first time of trying this. So I had a friend who knew this guy, and he was a tech guy. So he had relationships, or so I thought, relationships with different people who could help with getting the app developed, or he knew how to get connected to like the people overseas and stuff like that. Something I didn't know. And I went ahead and I went with this guy. And and it took a year for me to finally just, okay, I'm gonna cut my losses. I'm not gonna get nothing out of this guy. But through that year, I was paying in installments, and he, like I said, he was another one, breadcrumbing me, giving me just little bits and bits, just trying to show face that maybe something was going on. But a year had popped up, and there was nothing. There was nothing to show for the app, nothing to show for nothing. The only thing I had was like this website that was not up to par at all that he had built. So that I lost 15,000 out of all of that. Now, what I can say in the lesson of that was I learned a lot throughout that year. Like I've developed games that's not even in the app yet. And then I also was able to grow like as an individual within that year as well. Like just learning more about, the subconscious mind and why we do the things that we do, learning about why people engage in dating toxic cycles, like really learning and really being able to be of help along with creating this app. So then I ended up doing my own research, and I found another company to help me develop the app and spent another good chunk of money, more than what I spent initially, on getting the app up and running. But now I do have an app on both stores, the App Store and the Play Store. And I have the podcast and all of that stuff that's connected to it. So I can connect with users, connect with people who want to talk about dating, relationships. I connect with coaches, therapists, and all of that stuff. And the idea came from a horrible breakup for me. So,
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
thank you.
For that jerk to actually, take your money, that 15 grand, like, come on, man.
Yeah, he's a friend of a friend. So,
That's
I
crazy.
thought I could trust him because he was a friend of a friend. And it turns out that, I lost I lost about 15 grand, maybe a little over 15 grand. I lost a lot of money, trusting and believing in this person. But like I said, you learn, you grow. I learned a lot from that lesson.
So this was
I've
like,
learned a lot of lessons that I've had to pay for.
so this is like your hard earned working money, or did you get
Yes.
like
Yes.
investors and stuff like that?
No, I don't have any investors. So, I work multiple jobs. I'm in the corporate space in HR as a recruiter, and I juggle multiple jobs to keep things afloat with this company. So I'm able to pay for certain things. So no, this is all of my money, all of it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to you. But
Thank you.
I know how it is. I don't have any investors as well. So it's like I'm putting my hard earned money to
Right.
into my project and stuff like that. So it ain't easy. It ain't
Mm-mm.
easy out here being an entrepreneur and not having investors who believe in your product.
Right.
Yeah. So So walk us through, the app itself. So let's say I want to sign up for your app, right?
Okay.
Take us to the through the steps of what I have to do
Okay.
to even get to start talking to a woman.
All right, bet. So, first thing you'll do, of course, is download the app, and you'll sign up by putting your name, your birthday, and it'll go through questions asking you about your zodiac sign and different things. Tell us about you, your occupation, and then I also have a part in the app where you have to. You don't have to. You can skip it, but you can learn what your Enneagram type is. That's also a personality type of test. And if you don't know anything about it, you can actually in the app you can click a link. You take a test and you learn about your Enneagram type. So there's 9 different types, and that's something you can add to your profile as well, so people can learn just a little bit more about you once you get to the messenger phase. So there's that. You sign up, you swipe left, you swipe right on profiles that you swipe right for profiles that you like, you swipe left for profiles that you don't. Let's say you end up matching with somebody, like you like somebody and then a girl likes you. So there's different sections in the app. So you will go to you'll leave the discovery tab, which is in the app, where you're swiping left, swiping right, and then you'll go to the match queue. And then that's where you'll see all of your matches. And then there's a button right next to your match. Before you start a game, you can click on their picture, look at their profile, see what they do, check out their Enneagram, all that stuff. If that's something you did not do while you were swiping, because I know some people don't do it. They don't thoroughly look. They're just looking for pictures. But there's a button on the side that gives you options, and you can click on it, and then you can start game. So when you start game, there's 4 different games that pop up. They're all questionnaire games. Where you'll answer 5 questions. You and her will answer 5 questions, and then a compatibility result will pop up. But anyway, the games are based on sexual compatibility, emotional intelligence, attachment theory. That's another type of personality trait type thing, where we all fall under. There's 4 different attachment styles, and we all fall under one. And then the last one is love styles, and you'll see where you guys compare. So you can start a game, you'll answer the questions, and then she'll get an alert that you started the game and that you ended the game. And then when she's ready, she can go ahead, and since you picked the game first, she will have to play the game that you picked. She'll play the game, and then when she finishes and plays the game, then that's when you'll be able to see how you guys compare on whichever game that you chose. And then from there, you can move into messaging them. And you'll have to message them within 24 hours
Oh, okay,
or they'll disappear.
got
Or
you, got
play the game within 24 hours. Sorry, play the game with them within 24 hours or they'll disappear. If you message them, then you have them in your messages, and you can continue to contact them until you guys are ready to progress off of the app. So that's basically the gist of my prototype or my MVP of the app. So it's playing different type of questionnaire games, and each game has about 200 plus questions. So it's not like you're answering the same 5 questions over and over and over again.
got
So
you.
I just want to put that out there as well. And when I am able to get investors, or I am able, once the app starts to grow, I can add the different type of game ideas that I came up with. So that's kind of the phase I'm at now, trying to get the app to grow. And then the podcast is also in the app, where people can listen to different therapists, dating coaches, talk about different things in regards to love and relationships. And then I invite people on, like I invited you on, to come on. So if anybody wants to join the podcast, they can within the app as well.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. That's a good
Yeah.
setup to promote both. That's very good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good branding as well. Um, so let me ask you this. So once I take the screening, you know, test stuff like that, and I start swiping, right? So I get all these. I see all my matches. So
Uh-huh.
so once I see all my matches, is this like women that I actually that's in my location, or they all over the United States?
So right now, because like I said, the app is brand new. We trying to market it out now. I'm not marketing solely in New York yet because I don't have
Okay.
that type of money. So right now, I'm trying to just focus on Atlanta. The
Okay.
goal is to get everywhere. Now, if you want to get on the app and try it, you definitely can. It's everywhere.
Okay.
But for the purpose of marketing, I would hate to market all over the United States and say, okay, I'm heavily focused here in Atlanta, and there's a good bit of people here in Atlanta. Then you download it and you start swiping here, like, damn, these people are 800 miles away. What the hell am I gonna do with this? So that's what right now it's just in Atlanta, and the goal, hopefully within the next 6 months to a year, is um you can download it in New York and there's people in your area. But right now, just being fully transparent, there's not too many people in your area on the app right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So for the app, so you'll get a lot of brothers and sisters. It's about is it free? Do I have to pay for it?
So there's a free version and then there's a paid version. The free version, you do get 3 games a week. So you would have to pick your matches wisely on who you play a game with. Now, if you use up all of your games and you decide you still want to continue to play games and you like the app and it's cool and you're getting a lot of matches, you can buy you can do a subscription, or if you choose not to do a subscription, you can buy like an extra game, an extra 5 games, and I think an extra 10 games for like a certain amount. It's very cheap right now because the app is new, so it's not expensive. And then also there's a feature where say you have a third game, you have your last game, and then you're about to click on this person and play a game. A pop-up will come up if the person doesn't have any games and will ask you, hey, do you want to buy a game for this match? So you can play a game with them and know that they have games.
Gotcha.
So it's not free all the way. There is a free version where you do get a certain amount of games, and then after that, it does start charging like per game or a package. But if you pay for a monthly subscription, um, it's everything's unlimited as far as
So
the games.
so how much is the monthly subscription?
Hold on, I don't. Oh, that's a good question that I don't remember. I'm gonna tell you right now. Because I changed it. Because like I said, the original prices that I came up with was just like, oh no. Um, let's see. So the monthly one we got for a month is $15 for 30 days. For 90 days, 3 months, you're paying $20, and for 6 months, it's $30.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, so it's not nothing too
Not too
crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
Nothing too crazy. I had to think about it because at first, it was kind of crazy, and I had like, okay, this is brand new. I don't even let's see if the people like it. So yeah, I lowered it down. At first, I wanted to like maybe I should do it just free,
Hmm.
but how the app was built, I wasn't able to, unfortunately. So this is kind of how it's set up. So
Okay. Hey, cool.
yeah.
So so my next question for you is, I know you want to expand the app, right?
Mhm.
Um, so where do you see this project you're working on right now, the data app, in 5 years?
Whew. Um, I see it. I see it going far. Like I said, I think my my goal is to serve with this app. I think that's why I decided I want to put the podcast in the app because I want to be able to talk to people. I want to be able to really put what I've learned out there and also connect people who probably wouldn't seek out a dating coach. Um, get them information that's needed. So in 5 years, I would hope that the app would grow to be international. Um, of course, more games on there for people to interact and just to keep interest going. Um, I see. I don't know. I see the podcast also growing to something bigger. I'm not sure what that would look like. Um, and I see it just being something where I think I'll be able to touch a lot of people because I know dating and relationships and just relating to people in general is a it's for a lot of people it's an issue.
Right.
So I see it becoming a big thing. I don't know yet, but I do 5 years from now, I do seeing it being a national, international thing where Plan for Keeps will be everywhere.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Um, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions. That I really want to ask you.
Okay.
Um, what do you think is wrong with modern day dating?
I think it's everybody is dating. I think it's fear. I think it's scarcity mindset. I think a lot of people are afraid to totally be themselves out of fear of rejection. I feel like a lot of people put up these facades and they don't even know that they're putting it up. So that's why I talk about the subconscious mind and being more self aware because it seems like in the dating scene, a lot of people will put out these personas that they feel the world wants to see and maybe that person wants to see. And then when the mask starts to crack because it's not really them, or they want to start setting boundaries and stuff like that, it don't work out. And I think a lot of people are afraid of that part, but they're not realizing that they're not being vulnerable enough. Um, and it's fear based because you'll hear a lot of women talk about how there's not a lot of good men out here. Um,
Oh yeah, I heard
Me
that.
kind of being one of those people, I toggle between the fence of yeah, it's great man and being positive, and the next minute I'm like, yeah, ain't no men out here, men ain't shit. And that's a mindset that you really have to let go of. And same for men, like this goes for men as well. Like I feel like it's a scarcity mindset with them as well. And them also being afraid of women and being afraid that women want to use them. And some of them they're afraid of that and they don't even have the money that they feel the women want to use them for. It's 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 just a lot there. Like I said, people just not being vulnerable, a lot of fear-based stuff, and it's all subconscious. People don't even realize that they're doing it. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I just think that like for me, it's just hard um dating women today.
I could definitely see that.
It because it's like I told you, like every time I was on these dating apps and stuff like that, I would get like the bottle girl, or I would get uh a woman that's actually in a high position in a company, could be like a director or a VP and stuff like that. So they already come and they much older as well. So
Yeah.
I'm 35 years old. So
Gotcha.
I'm either like dating a woman my age or a little bit younger. So the woman I date my age is like they already have uh they mindset up of what they want from their man. And let me explain.
Okay.
They think no, they have this pre mindset that okay, whatever went wrong in my past relationships, right? I'm not gonna let that happen to me.
Yeah.
You're gonna do A to Z, and if you can't get with A to Z, you can't be with me.
And I feel that, and I'm gonna start off by saying I respect women who set boundaries. You know, I respect that and set boundaries to the point of okay, this is what I want, and I'm gonna stand on it, and that's what I respect that. Um, Again, I feel like hmm. So let me ask you this
Mhm.
in regards to that. You say you either attract those type of women who just have these certain set of boundaries. I'm assuming that you totally don't meet. What is it about you where at the same time you only seek out these women? Are these women the only type for you? Do you find yourself trying to prove yourself to women that want something else?
No, I don't try to like prove myself. With me, I'm like more a traditional man. So I
Okay.
will want in a relationship. I want to basically, you know, be head of the household.
Okay.
Pay all the bills, stuff like
Okay.
that. Take care of my woman. But the woman I have been dating, they already have money. They always bring up their money in the conversation,
Oh,
and that is such a big turnoff because I tell women all the time, like men don't really care about your money.
yeah.
Like we don't care you making millions of dollars. We don't care you make $100,000. Because at the end of the day, a woman want a traditional man to take.
Most women.
Most
Most.
women,
Most. Yeah.
most women want a traditional man with every characteristic. Like they want allowance. They want to go. They want to go shopping and stuff like that. But a lot of women don't want to be traditional women.
I can't argue with you there. I can't
But
argue with you
to
there.
me, to me, they want they some women, most women want to get married, right? But the reason why they say that they want, from my experience of talking to women, they just want the wedding. They don't want the marriage because they wait all their lives to get they wait
I
all
think
their lives to get married. They just want the wedding.
I think that's the logical thing, right? But I think it's beaten down in us so much to where, oh, marriage, kids. I think subconsciously, like, we think that's what we're supposed to do. So that's what we go for because it's familiar, it's what we've heard. But then down in your core, as you grow, as you get older and you become your own person, that woman may not want that. So, I think it really comes to a woman really understanding and knowing what her wants are,
Mhm.
more than it just her just wanting the wedding. I mean, she probably does want the wedding for
But she
sure.
wants the
So, I mean,
wedding.
logically, what you say, that's what it is. But I think it even gets deeper to the point of her fully not even understanding, like, why she's moving like that. And to kind of go back to your point of women want a traditional man, but they're not traditional women. How times have changed, women can't be that traditional woman. And I honor the fact that you want to be that traditional man to take care of your household, take care of this, take care of that. So my thing is, if you want to be that man, um, while when you're looking for, like, when you're dating and you're looking for certain types of women, I wonder, like, what types of conversations are you having, like, as far as, like, finding out where the woman is in her life, like, what type of woman do you want? Are you okay with a woman who maybe has just a regular 9 to 5 job that's not making that much money, and you could be that traditional man, that head of household? Because with the women today, that's not, quote unquote, they want traditional man, but they, quote unquote, not traditional. Most of the time, those women, they come from those bad relationships, and they had to rise to where they are today, and they're not going to be that traditional woman. So for you, like, what are you looking for in a woman, even down to her employment, so you can be that man? Are you even thinking about those questions for you?
Oh yeah. Like when I go on dates with women, like I treat it like an interview for a job.
Mm, okay.
So I have a list of questions
Oh my God.
that that you really had to pass the test.
Pass the test.
Yes, because with me, I'm 35, right?
Okay.
When I was dating the previous woman in my life, I
Mhm.
wasn't dating with intention. I
Got you.
was just going with the flow of things. So
Got you.
now that I learned from those experiences, I said to myself, my next relationship, I'm going to make sure that this woman is right for me, and also make sure that there's certain things that I need to look for to make sure that she's actually wife material. Because a
What
lot of women are
for
not.
you?
Yeah, a lot of if wife material for me because a lot of women are not wife material. They think that they wasn't raised to be wives.
What is wife material? Because I feel like now too, it's just as much as women have changed, men are also changing and being more open and more vulnerable and not following the traditional status quo. So, what is wife material for you? Let's talk about that.
Wife materials for me is first of all, a woman got to be submissive. So when you say submissive, it just triggers a woman because they think it's like slavery and stuff like that.
Oh,
No, that's
no.
well, a lot of women think like that, right? When they hear the word submissive, they're like, oh, it just triggered them. Like, no, no, get away from me. They're like, like, do you understand what it like to be a submissive wife?
Let's talk about submission, and then also in submission, do you play that dance as well in submission?
What do you mean? Am I submissive to my
As
wife?
are you to like at least to your wife? Like, what is submissive to you? I feel like it's different for everybody. What would you describe as a submissive wife?
Number one, you gotta listen.
Okay, definitely.
Um, if you want, I'm like I said, I'm traditional. So if you want a traditional man, you gotta let me lead. There's only one quarterback of a team.
Okay.
And that was another issue in my past relationships because they wanted to be the quarterback too. It only could be one quarterback on the team. So you can't be right next to me going hut hut and you right next to me going hut hut.
Let me
You
ask you
can't do
this.
that. You gotta
Let
play
me
your
ask you,
position.
let me ask you this,
Yeah.
right? So as I know with and it seems like this is for I'm not talking for all women, but majority, if the man can lead, no problem. They usually will let that man lead. Are you talking about like lead as far as she'd always have something to say about certain decisions? Like, did she not come off as a helpmate and she came off more as like an opponent? Like, what do you mean when you say this woman didn't let you lead, or women don't let men lead?
She well, this person I'm talking about, she would actually we would actually have conversations and on conversations like, hey, you supposed to be leading, right? So if I'm driving the car, and I'm supposed to be driving the car, and you supposed to be in the passenger seat, right? But I'm trying to drive the car, but I can't drive the car because you got the keys. How the hell am I supposed to drive the car? It's simple. It's very simple. Like a lot
So
of women don't like that.
okay, well, let me ask you this because I get what you're saying. Okay, so she has the keys, right?
Yes,
So while she has the keys, are you guys having a conversation on? Are you guys having a conversation on where on the particular destination you guys are getting to? Have
yes.
you guys had a full conversation about where you're going? How is the leader leading and how can the helpmate help? Like, are you guys having these conversations, or are you just thinking, no, I'm the man, I'm supposed to lead, that's it?
We would have these conversations all the time,
Okay. Okay.
and every time we had these conversations, and one thing I actually noticed
Mm-hmm.
is outside influences.
That's not really a great thing depending
So,
on outside influence.
so she was listening to her mother, who's not married, got three different baby daddies, plus your circle of friends, all single. So single women keep single women single.
That's not true.
That's true. That's a fact.
No, it's not because
Uh,
I don't keep my friends. I don't do that. I don't keep my friends single.
well,
Now you
you,
can't say that about every. You can't do that. That'd be
yeah,
my only issue. Now I know that's what you've experienced, so that's what you think. But not all single women like they don't talk to their friends on that level. Some single women talk to their friends and try to really weigh in and get both sides and try to help them come up with a logical decision on what they should do for their relate. There are single
I
friends
never
like
seen
it.
that. I never seen that.
I am that single friend. I don't do that. I'm just letting and I know
Well,
there's a
that's
whole
good.
bunch of
We need more
yeah,
women like you.
there's a lot of women out there. See, I need you to expand. That's what I need you to do. I need you to expand just a little bit more. Even if you need to expand outside of the 5 boroughs. I need you to expand
if
because I'm
you if
telling
you
you.
if you're in a good situation with your man, right,
Hmm.
and you're gonna have ups and downs in a relationship.
Absolutely.
So you're gonna whatever you have questions for, you gotta go to your support team, right? Now I agree. Now every woman in a inner circle don't talk to certain women on a type of level about relationships, but there's always one. But there's always one, and every time when it comes to one, is always that single friend. Like, girl, you need to do this, girl, you need to do that. What my thing is, if you want to be a wife, right?
Hmm.
Why don't you talk to an elder woman that's actually married and been married for years? So for you to get the understanding what it is to be a wife and how they last 30 to 40 years. Why you listen to your single
Yeah,
mama?
because I think even some of the women who were married for 30 to 40 years, they'll give you solid advice, but then they'll also give you advice from, let me not say that because I know great advice stands the test of time. But then again, times have changed. So, what may have worked for them back then may not work now. And then also some of those older women will tell you, don't do what I did. There's a
Yeah,
lot of older women
you're
who
right.
feel,
You're
yeah,
right.
that's something else that's going on now. So
But
that's
here's
why
the
I
thing:
said
they still married.
they still married, but then they'll tell that woman who's struggling in the relationship to figure things out. Some older women who's married, still in a relationship, will tell them not to go through it because then they'll talk about how they stuck around for this long and that long with that particular person and it wasn't worth it.
But
So it's I think it's really you can get out there, you can get advice, but I think at the end of the day, it's really learning to communicate for real with who you with. Like and really trying to stand firm with who you with if you two feel that it's worth it. I think submission is it's I heard another lady talk about it. She talked about how like it's an art. It's selflessness on both ends. You know, I think both parties should be able to submit to each other.
I agree
Would you agree with that?
because once you marry, you're a union.
Yeah.
But the thing
And
I
I feel like a lot of men who talk about submission, they don't talk about it in that way. So I think it scares a lot of women. Even my mother, that the same clip that I was listening, and my mom's been with my dad since 87. She heard the word submission and was like, I don't like that. And she's been with my dad for almost 40 years. Okay.
right.
So a lot of women, even from back, they don't like that word, but I feel like it's used in a way by men and it just comes off as manipulation to a lot of women. So I think that's why. So I think just maybe explaining like what submission means to you when you bring the word up. Like when you go out on, do you look for submissive women like in your questions when
No,
you go on?
I don't say the word submissive. I use it in a different way.
Got you.
But even though when I use it in different way, see, I think men and women don't understand the actual role play of being married.
I agree. I
They
agree.
just think this is Walt Disney. It's an actual job.
It
The
is.
man has a job that he has to do, and the woman has a job. Take care of the household, take care of the kids, and stuff like that. The man got to go get the bacon, turkey bacon at that. I don't eat pork, but anyway, you know what I mean. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So you got to, there's jobs. And I think what people like Walt Disney and this fairy tale, Cinderella nonsense actually, screwed up and poisoned our minds
I
about
think
what actually married is being married is.
I think so too. In a lot of ways, I can agree with that. I can agree with a lot of what you say because I know like the particular structure you're looking for in your marriage, that is for you. So I can definitely agree with what you're saying as well. It's messed us up in a lot of different ways because a lot of women, like you said, they'll be looking for that Disney type of feeling and all of that stuff, and then in real life, it's not like that. And then yeah, we're all messed up.
Yeah. But here's another thing. I know I have a lot of friends that moved to like overseas or South America and stuff like that. I have a friend that actually living in Brazil right now, just working. and he's like the mindset of women in Brazil and South America is totally different from women in America. And this is what he told me. He like, I am never dating a woman, American woman again.
See, because I'm sorry, I feel like your friend is looking for, because a lot of here's the thing, I feel too. There's different those women were treated different, right? When you look at a woman that's from America, whether they're from the hood or whatever the case may be, a lot of our backgrounds we've watched, our mothers have to be in survival mode. When we watch that, or we watch our mothers go through bad relationships, that grows kind of like I don't know, you do your best to avoid that. You know what I'm saying? Or you watch maybe your mother be submissive to somebody and then they move on to somebody else. There's a lot of programming and reasonings for why a woman is like that. And I feel like a lot of men don't put in the real effort to actually deal with an American woman. They just want to run to the Brazilian who already had it easy like that. They had their fathers and mothers already training them and prepping them to be this particular woman because it's cultural norms over there or whatever. It's totally different in America. And I feel like men just, I don't know. They just seem real. I'm not going to sit here
But here's the thing: the he said it's the mindset.
it's
You
this the
know,
mindset, or it's what you've seen, or what the person has probably seen growing up and why they are the way that they are. You know what I'm saying? And if I feel like if a man really wants that out of a woman, you know what I'm saying? I feel like you got to focus outside of yourself and really, if you really want to be with that woman, learn that woman, learn how to communicate with that woman. Now I know that sometimes it's for some women there's no way of communicating, but when do men take responsibility as well? A lot of them I don't see doing that. They say what your homeboy just said. I just and they which is fine if that's your type now, it's easier to deal with all that stuff. Hey, kudos for you. But I just feel like a lot of men don't really put in the time to really build that trust with that woman. Like they don't. And that's just my personal opinion on that. Because I've heard that a lot.
no, I get what you're saying. What he's saying like is the mindset because they like especially like in Brazil they have more of a traditional woman's mindset. They cater to the man and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And American mindset is we teach our woman in America, no matter what race it is, that you are special. It's all about you. It's all about you. And sometimes it get lost, especially with modern day dating stuff. That it get lost of actually you hear terms like happy wife, happy life. Like I never understand that mindset because you are not the only one in this marriage that's supposed to be happy. I'm supposed to be happy too. I'm the hubby.
I mean,
What's going
absolutely,
on?
absolutely. I agree with that. I do agree with that to a certain extent. But again, I feel like a man could be happy with an American woman, really trying to communication, really trying to learn where that woman is has been, where she's came from, and how you can really be of someone who can help her trust for real. So then you can lead the way that you would want to lead. I feel like it's a trust thing. And the same things that I guess women in Brazil or whatever is afforded of, we don't have that in America. Men are not like that in America. You know what I'm saying? They're not. There's a reason why women had to progress and change, and now women are making more. There's a reason behind all of that. So I feel like men need to factor all of that in too, and stop blaming the woman and stop, with all of the shaming of the woman. I feel like it's unfair in a lot of ways. I'm not saying that I don't totally disagree with that guy, but there's reasonings behind it that men don't talk about. And I feel like the men are lazy to a certain degree in America. Not speaking on you, but a lot of them, like I said, there's you with being in America, you do have with the things that women and men have to go through. I think we both on both sides, we both need to learn to communicate more. We both need to learn to trust more. So maybe we can be like those people in the other countries, if that's what an individual even strives to be.
I think I agree with you that there are men that need to take accountability.
Yeah.
Just having controlling that thing in your pants and stop
Yeah.
lying to women and saying, "Oh yeah, I want to be with you, but I just want sex." So I agree with you. There's a lot of men that need to take accountability and grow the hell up
Yeah.
and actually, you know, because we some blame we are the reason why when women get older, say I'm dealing with you 20, 21, 22, right? I did my dirt on the side and stuff like that. So once you go date other men, you have walls up.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard for the next man to break through the walls because you don't trust because you've been through all this nonsense that the man puts you through. So I think there's accountability on that. But I also think that there is um a certain disconnect
It is.
of what men want, and a lot of women are mostly women are not paying attention and listening because because we have like I have panel discussion all the time, and when we ask someone what do a man want, right, and we actually explain what we want, like no, you don't want that, you don't want that, like you're not listening,
Right.
you
And
know.
I feel like, again, it's I think it goes back to their experiences.
Mhm.
And I think it is sad. There are a good bit of women who don't really just try to listen and take it in. I think listening and taking it in is hard because with some men, a woman will listen and that's what they say, and then the woman will try to move in their way. And then I don't know if because the men aren't used to the woman trying to move in the way that they want them to move, they put a wall up as well. I feel like there's a lot of disconnect between both of us, both men and women. I feel like it's all on a subconscious level because a man can talk about what he wants all day, right? But a lot of men don't even move in the ways that they say that they want as well. So it's just a lot of confusion, a lot of not accountability on both parts, And I feel like I'm glad that you're having panel discussions because I feel like there's not enough discussions between men and women for real on a vulnerable level. I see it now, like more on social media and stuff like that. Men and women are talking more, but it wasn't like that for a very long time. Even during the times where everybody talks about, oh, the traditional way was great, men and women really weren't talking then either. Men were leading because women couldn't really even work like that. You know what I'm saying? So now the paradigm is shifting, and then now we're all just trying to figure it out because it's no longer like that. So I just feel like again, men keep doing all this bashing about women wanting traditional men, but they're not traditional. It's just with the times and it changing. I think we all just need to talk more and figure out what will work for us as two people, right? Like, because everybody is different now with all of the changes.
Right.
So, yeah.
And that's why we have both our podcasts to talk about it. So, DJ, I appreciate you for coming on the show. Can you explain to the audience where they could get your app and find your podcast?
Yeah, so if anybody wants to download the app, you can look it up on the Google Play Store or App Store. It's playing the number 4 and then keeps. And then you can find me on social media all over at playing the number 4 keeps app. So yeah, that's where you can find me and connect with me if that's what you would like to do.
Yeah, make sure you go support this app. Also support our podcast as well. Shout out to our sponsors, Click A Vodka, Holistic Remedies. Don't forget to use that promo code HR Me Saucy at checkout. Get 10% off. Shout out to my co-hosts gonna be there. Shout out to Dad, Mac, and Bernice. Shout out to them. Make sure you actually subscribe to the podcast, share it, hit that notification button, and give me that help the brother out special. And also, we got the network coming soon. We got some great shows that's going to be announced. We got some official merch for the podcast as well. Make sure you go to Teespring. Show some support. We got everything. We got t-shirts, pet hoodies for your dog. Now we got everything. So we selling everything. iPhone cases. It doesn't matter. So make sure you guys pay attention to all the new shows that's going to be announced on the network. DJ, peace and love. We appreciate you for being on the show. And this is not this is only the beginning. This is not the end. Okay, this is only the beginning. All right.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yes.
All right. Peace and love, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
Get the fuck out of here! What? Fucking warming up. Get out of here!